Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rest is Lean podcast with my good self, Alan Lothian, and my two finest of fine colleagues, Russell Watkins
Hello.
and John D, the Alchemist.
Hello. I can't go as deep as Russell.
How you doing, guys? You keeping well, yeah?
Yes, excellent. Thanks, sir.
What you been up to? Give us a bit of a nod.
Well, uh, I've been in over the border into Wales, doing a little bit of stuff on 5S. I've got a right theme on 5S over the last few months, but good 5S. And I made my sort of New Year's resolutions. Now,
What,
as you
what,
know,
Did you wear a shirt with massive pockets every day?
don't knock the salt rock. Everybody likes a little bit of this. It's the good stuff.
other brands are other brands are available, like
They're
Giacomo.
available, but they're not as good. Yeah, so I don't make any New Year's resolutions about giving up smoking or beer or anything like that because I'm vice free. But I do like to sort of reflect on the year, business wise and all the rest of it, and give myself a little phrase to work to or some targets. And I've written down these wise words. Took me about an hour to come up with this vanilla. Um, Customers should receive what they want, realize what they need, and treasure the journey.
Oof.
Mic drop. So
Uh,
that was my little phrase for myself to remember for the year.
Did you pay a bit more for Christmas crackers this year, John?
It's quality stuff. Quality stuff.
That's interesting. What spurred that thought?
yeah.
Oh, assisting some other consultants, let's call it, that like to sheep dip their clients. And,
Oof.
I've been asked for X. Give me 5 minutes, I'll turn it round into what I always deliver.
Yeah.
And was
Um,
the inspiration whilst you were in Wales? Did you say, John?
no, 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 you're not
No.
linking this to anybody. No, this is
Okay.
this is separate. It just happened to be open on my desk while I was talking, and it made me think, oh,
Oh, that's
I
good.
share that.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, there's a big
That's
difference between what customers want, but you really should give them that because that's why they pay you.
mhm.
That's a
What they
trust
want,
thing.
what they really, really want.
Yes. But what
But
they
yeah,
need is
but
separate, and as long as you can help them to understand what they need, that's good.
I think that's a part of the discipline, John. There is. I mean, if you treat that with respect, it doesn't lead you to hubris and thinking that you know best.
Yeah.
But if you, I think there is something in a part of our skill set should be challenging the question that comes to us
Yeah. Yeah.
based on observation and getting to know the business, not based on the patterns that we have in our mind on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely,
fair play.
absolutely right.
So that's me,
Good
Alan.
stuff. Nice one, good stuff, my friend. What about yourself, Russ?
Well, I've been two things. I was inspired by John, which happens a lot. So I've locked myself in the garage for well, after literally 45 minutes of ceaseless searching, I managed to create this gold ring out of an old potato I found in the recycling.
That sounds
Um,
like an alchemy gag to me.
I was going to say, and we should say to the subscribers, you may want to watch the previous episode to get the in joke.
more,
Carry on.
on a more serious note, my mother. Now, my mother, I've talked about her previously. I've talked about her on other podcasts as well, in that she's a bit of an inspiration for me in lean, and that she's disabled, has been since birth, and there's a lot of what she's had to do in terms of observation, understanding how to lay out her life so that it is easier, less burdensome, and less risky. That has carried forward into my lean life. I've been a lucky beneficiary of her disability. I was talking to her in the week because I thought I'd wrung this towel dry. And she said, just casually, she said, I've put a note in my phone, and every Friday I check the bottom of my walking stick, and on the bottom of her walking stick, both of them, is a little rubber end with
Yeah.
ferrules on, and the
Mhm.
ferrules are tiny little dimples that
Yeah.
keep traction.
Yeah.
And she'd worked out, almost going over on ice in a previous winter, that they wear unevenly because of her disability, and she has to turn them every so often,
Right.
and she has to replace them every so often. So she has a discipline on her phone, commissioned by TPM, where she looks at the wear and she adjusts, and then she works out the mean time between failure. She didn't say any of those words, by the way. But it got me thinking. She has been an endless pool of ideas for me and thinking. And LinkedIn and the lean world is awash with these business lessons from sports, and they look at this everyday lean stuff. And I'm guilty of this. And I sometimes wonder, how useful is it to try and draw parallels from sport and life into lean?
So you guys know that my son Adam, he was diagnosed with Asperger's when he was quite young, actually, when he was 3. I suppose the exposure, or the initial exposure I had to our lean training when we were at Industry Forum, I didn't know how important and how beneficial that was going to be to me in my personal life, if I'm brutally honest, until Adam was diagnosed. Because fundamentally, one of the things or two of the things, shall I say, that has helped him throughout is a lot of the key foundational tools of lean. 5S, organising the workplace, leader standard work, having visual management. Visual management by far and away was the key one initially. Adam didn't speak until he was 5.
Right.
Okay. And so to get that communication across, good v bad, what to do next, where to go, what you can't do, what's dangerous, what's safe, you've got no language. So you've got to use visual signals to try and communicate it. Visual timetables dotted all over the house.
Really?
Showing him how to brush his teeth. Simple things. And a lot of this was actually from the preschool he was having. We were incredibly lucky because and I've forgotten her name now. If Amanda was here, she'd shout through and tell me. She was the head of the preschool that Adam was at, and she had had a lot of experience working with those with spectrum disorders, and had suggested that we have him checked. But she was a fountain of knowledge and experience, and she gave us some examples, and they were dotted all around the preschool, because obviously Adam wasn't going to be the first person that's been labelled with that badge, so to speak. For me, it's putting 2 and 2 together. So, well, hang on, we do this stuff, or we're trying to promote this stuff in factories all over the world. But for me, it was an absolute godsend for me, Amanda and Adam. It really helped him through it in his early days. He couldn't get through a day without a visual timetable.
And what does that? Can you go into a bit more detail about how these mechanisms worked? What some of them look like?
Well, in terms of, say, the visual timetables, for example, literally like a visual calendar, there'd be pictures, almost like cartoon drawings. Just systematically showing the steps in the dance. Okay, very, very few words, because obviously you wouldn't understand them. Okay. It was literally using diagrams, to the extent that, if we couldn't find one, there's plenty, there's plenty of resources on the internet. But at the time when maybe we couldn't find one, the amount of times, certainly more Amanda than myself, but she'd be daubing to the best of her ability a symbol or a picture of something to try and describe what we're trying to get at. And get into that training, that mechanism, that discipline of do this, then do this, then do this. But what you're doing is you're just referring to the pictures as opposed to verbalizing it, because he wouldn't understand it anyway. And even if he did, we wouldn't be able to acknowledge it because he couldn't speak back. So it really focused the mind in terms of how do we get it across. There was colours everywhere, red bad, green good. Things on the front door in terms of reminding him to, when he was older, is in terms of closing the door behind him. In some cases, we then change, rather than having visual aids, we then changed the mechanism so they were self-closing, so you didn't have to worry about it, that sort of thing.
So Al, you must be tremendous at 5S check sheets, inspection standards, SOPs and pictures, and minimizing words, maximizing
Yeah, well, you can do my PR for me if you fancy it, Ross. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, anal. Amanda's incredibly good at it
Mm.
because when I was out, she was developing the new ones for the home.
Yeah.
You know, we'd have new ones and go through it. So,
Well,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
think in many ways you two have kind of answered your own question straight away because following on from Russell's quick chat, I thought, oh, Russell's next book should be called Micro TPM. And chapter one is My Mum's Walking
My
Stick,
walking stick.
Yeah.
right?
Well, do
And
you know
he's
what?
going to describe the whole of TPM, but starting off with that as its core.
Was it your mum
Because
or
it's
your nan, Ross?
accessible.
Did you say it was your mum or your nan?
My mum.
Your mum. I think your mum should write the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she could do, yeah.
I mean,
And you could do the same, Al, but it's just basically,
Adam can do it. Just one thing.
visual management and my family, something like
Well,
that. And again, you just tell a story, but
mhm,
then you let it expand into applications within factories. And I think coming back to Russell's original question, um, people using anecdotes, stories from sporting life or
mhm,
celebrity or wherever. Um, it can all seem a little vacuous on the surface. They're throwaway lines,
mhm,
but people can relate to them and understand what they are.
That's the key.
Um, Sometimes you can get a point across because you've got this great analogy, like your walking stick, and
mhm,
people say, "Oh, I absolutely understand why that's valuable." Okay, thanks, Russell. Apparently, he's made this tenuous link back to a thing, and it might be um, some sort of reminder system. It might be a link back to TPM or wherever. But now I just need that extra link back to, and what would that look like in a factory? Or insert appropriate scenario. So I think it all works and it's all valuable
mhm,
as long as you then give that translation back to a factory, which is, it brings me to another thought. We will all have been involved potentially in taking clients on tours of, take them to a Toyota.
mhm,
They don't work in Toyota. They make
mhm,
wristwatches or boxes, cardboard boxes. But you take them to a Toyota. So you're able to show them these great analogies
Mm.
for the power of visual management. But they've seen it on we're running out of tyres. So they've seen it, they've understood it, but then you've got to make a
The leap.
translation back to their place to finish the teaching. Otherwise, you risk isn't Toyota good?
Mhm,
But you have to make that translation beforehand, I think, John. It's in the framing. So funnily enough, I was in a client yesterday and they're looking to go and see, they're looking to do what they should do, which is to get an image of what better looks like.
Yeah.
I want to see somebody who's similar to us,
mhm,
non-competitive, similar to us, and we want to see them a year ahead of us so that we can get a feel for how good it can be and to give us both
Mhm.
inspiration and also clarity.
Mhm.
Now, it's it's my job in this case to find somebody who's similar, and it might be the difference between somebody making fish cakes and somebody making I don't know, bouncy balls. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter because a similarity bit is what's interesting.
mhm,
Similarity could be it's a complex business. They've got a complicated bomb, a lot of customer variety. So all you want is a business that is similarly complex with the same
Mhm.
amount of variety, similar amount of capex manpower ratio. And as long as you frame that up front and say, this might look different, the
mhm,
puppet show looks different, but
Mhm.
the strings are the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
mhm.
Now, let's go and have a look. And by the by, if we're going to visit somebody and I'm taking you, we ain't just going to ooh and ah our
Mhm.
way round. You got to come with a question. So tell
Mhm.
me what your question is.
Mhm.
It's a really good
You
point.
make a good point there, John.
It is. I was going to say well, a couple of things actually. One was I always say up front, wherever it is that I'm taking a client to, is say, ignore what they're making,
Mhm.
focus on what they're doing,
Yeah.
not what they're making.
Yeah.
If they can try and cross that bridge, what if they see somebody doing something, understand why they're doing it, and whether the doing bit, the process bit, would apply back at your factory or your business, as opposed, because otherwise, if they, like you say, if they just look at cars being manufactured or certain other widgets, right?
It's exciting and you're
They can't-
distracted by it.
It's distracting, exactly. So I had one, and an example of that is I was working with a manufacturer of X-ray protection in the Midlands about 2 years ago, and not far from them is a lock manufacturer.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you guys remember a certain Mr. Matt Daly and Harry Warrender.
Yeah.
Do you remember them?
I know where you are.
Yeah, you know where I am. So they kindly, and thanks to Harry and to Matt for allowing us to bring the guys over, they allowed us to show them around the facility to look at what they could do, and they actually said to me after the walk was, had we had not actually said to them beforehand, ignore the fact that you're making lead lined panels to protect, and they're making locks. It's actually speak to the people, watch the processes, ignore the product.
Yeah, because they've tackled problems. There's a Yokotan angle to this.
Yeah,
they have tackled or are tackling problems that you, my friends, are facing.
Yeah, exactly. And then, do you know what? It was really good. The best thing they got out of it was the dialogue that they could have with the operators.
Yeah.
Because they were basically, because they don't know how a lock was made, so they were just asking the question, well, why do you do what you do? Oh, it's because it solves this particular issue, or it helps us, if we orientate it this way, it helps with the assembly. And it gets them thinking, orientation. If we orientate the panels in a slightly different way, we're machining them, that might help us.
Yeah.
Okay. Or there might be a piece of equipment that's helping carry bulky material in that factory that they can maybe think, well, can we adapt that to help them move their
it's a real challenge to take people into places like that, because what we've got to remember is tomorrow somebody's going to ring Russell and say, Russell, we make coat hangers.
You're under arrest.
We need you to come in and help us with problem solving on coat hanger manufacture. Made up, obviously. Russell is not going to go, whoops, I know nothing about coat hangers. He's going to go, ooh, coat hangers, that's a bit left field. Yeah, I'll be round.
Yeah.
And that's because we've had so many first days. We will go in and go, ooh, coat hangers, we're human. We're going to be interested in how it's made live.
Yeah.
But we will look at the roles people have. So you'll go in there and say, well, what's the team leader do? You'll look at how they solve problems or not. You'll look at whether they're using work instructions or not. We look beyond that, and we all go in with trepidation. If it's something really left field, like some of us will have worked in like abattoirs or something like that, it's very hard to look beyond it, because super interesting, super weird, super cringy, whatever. But we're still able to do a little bit of it. You imagine Joe Smith, who's been told he's going on a trip to Toyota to learn more about lean that he can bring back to his cardboard box making factory. It's going to be very, very difficult for them to look beyond the cars, because the cars are amazing. Might actually be interested in cars. I think we've got to help people to look at, go look at what a team leader does, for instance. Because that is the same.
And be open to other things.
That's a real challenge, I think, to prep people to do that. And sometimes analogies are the way to go.
They are. I'd like to talk about fish in a minute, but I'll get to that.
Okay, our other podcast channel.
Firstly, Al, have you taken many groups around Hogwarts? But and secondly, John, you got me thinking. 7 wastes, or for our 2-second lean friends, 8 wastes.
There's another one.
in a coat hanger factory, is the waste of idle time called hanging around? And in an abattoir, is it dead time?
Oh, boom, boom.
I'll be here a week. Tip your
Thank you
waiter
very
or
much.
waitress. Fish. Now, uh, coming back to my original question. So I was thinking about all the business lessons that people pull from Super Bowl winners and
Yeah,
Premiership winners and that. But then I was thinking about Mix-san, Toshiyuki Muraoka, our Sensei Al, and Rio-san, yours, John.
hmm
And I have found over the years that the Japanese manufacturers, Toyota particularly, like to talk about fish, and that's because fish is a rich diet for lean. They talk about fish and food preparation in terms of 5S a lot. You know, you don't want the fish head and the fish tail and the fish bone hanging around. You just want the
yeah,
meat of the fish, etc. Problem solving is a fish bone for a reason. You can even extend it into the digital world in terms of data analytics, and we get lots of inputs now, and you can harvest lots of data, but you have to have a question to be able to use data analytics well.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're just overwhelmed with information, data on information. And the metaphor for that is you have to know what fish you want to catch in your data lake. And to
yes.
know that, you then know what bait to use, where to cast your rod, by the bank or in the shadows.
Mm,
And so the whole metaphor, it allows you to express to somebody who might like fishing or is turned off by technical lean
yeah,
speak to think, so I've got to have a question and know what I'm looking for.
yeah.
And I think that's the key. What's the intent?
Mhm.
And is it beneficial to that person or business you're talking to?
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good.
Gateway language, really, isn't it? I'll get you talking about the subject, but I'm going to use a version of the subject that's going to amuse or not panic you.
Mhm. One thing I was going to mention earlier on, obviously myself and Russell had offered two different examples. So one with his mum, me with my son.
Mm.
And while we were talking earlier on, it got me thinking. Fundamentally, when we look at examples of lean in real life, the ones that stick are the ones where people understand there's a need for doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about our two examples. Your mum, I would imagine, Russell, tell me if I'm wrong, obviously found the importance of her the foot on her stick, because obviously from her perspective, there was a personal need to make sure that was in good condition for her own safety.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because if I go down, I might get a bruised ass. If she goes down, she'll be in hospital for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I would say my example, arguably the person who it's affecting didn't know whether that's right or wrong or indifferent because it was a baby. Yeah.
But it made the
So the
Lothian
need was,
business run better.
so the need was, I felt out of care, I suppose, care for that precious thing,
Mm.
that we had to put things in place. There was a need for us to make sure that small child was kept safe and healthy.
Your
So the
customer was
need,
happy.
the customer was happy, but well, argue, could you say, yeah, I suppose the customer's happy, but without being able to articulate that they were happy
Yeah.
in a direct sense.
All
In other
right,
words, they
less
weren't unhappy. Yeah, exactly. They weren't screaming the house down, which still happened, obviously. Okay, but
Yeah.
kids do that anyway. But that was the constant challenge, and it just made me think. It's around fundamentally, it's around about the need, isn't it?
Yeah.
If people aren't, if there's a will, there's a way. If people feel that they're driven, that they've got to find a different way, an easier way, a safer way of doing things, they're more. Humans are incredibly clever, a clever species. They'll find ways and mechanisms to do it. A lot of what we talk about, it isn't really new. Let's be honest, is it?
No, he's
It's all,
certainly not clever.
yeah, and it's certainly not clever. All right. Um, and the old adage, a lot of it with people, that's common sense. The problem with common sense is it's not that
Yeah.
common. All right. Um, and I actually find it quite interesting when I love social media if it's targeted in the right ways, when it can just show examples in a completely different way of life, but it will trigger a thought process and a reaction that enables somebody else to basically take that idea and either not necessarily make it better, but alter it to suit their own particular conditions and situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing when we see it. I do agree with your point you mentioned earlier on, Russell, though, that you do see a lot on social media where, dare I say it, a bit of trying to be a bit of one-upmanship.
But 12 Reef.
Yeah. And I think, look, let's be honest. We're all on the same planet. Just share your experiences.
Yeah.
If someone can take the idea and use it in another way that makes their life better and safer, then all credit to them.
Yeah. And you know that it feeds back into the Japanese ethos where you know they were pilloried for decades about just copy. All you do is copy. Well, that leapfrog and imitate, the traditional Japanese view of the word copy is different to us. Copy for us is steal.
Yeah.
For them, the flattery is in the copying, but in the copying there is a next step. You copy it to understand it so that you can push it forward and push the envelope so you can improve it.
Yes.
And it is. I think you're right, Al. It's about the usefulness. It's seeing stuff on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever and thinking, hey, I can use that. I had one last week with Steph. I showed her a little video on LinkedIn of somebody had got a ball of string and they had put it in
a bottle top. The bottle was the bottle top,
and put a hole in the lid and screwed it up.
Brilliant.
Anyway, I showed that to Steph, and most of the time she goes, yeah, whatever. But because she has the allotment and she uses a lot of string, all right, I want that. I'll have that.
Yeah, exactly. Or are you serious? I mean, there's a lot of people now, and maybe it might be my algorithm on Facebook or whatever, but you have a lot of these people that show you like life hacks. Well, they call them life hacks.
Mm-hmm.
All they basically are iterations of making life easy.
Yeah.
Someone's developed them over decades for varying situations.
Yeah.
But the flip side of this coin is we have to be careful not just to try and stack up a load of life hacks because the way to create a lean enterprise to be a strong business isn't an accumulation of hacks, but they can help to engage people and solve specific problems.
Yeah.
You take it back to the idea of all of lean is essentially creating flow. You've got to know what you're trying to do. And you got to look for the things that slow you or irritate you, and then add hacks.
Yeah.
Not, well, look at all that hacks, because that's collective.
And by the way, you've got 10 times as much inventory sat behind you. But this thing's easy here. There's all this stuff not moving at all.
At last, one of us mentioned inventory. We must talk about inventory. I'm desperate to talk about inventory.
Really?
You know what? It was almost if it was planned, that John.
Yeah. Well, I think that's enough inventory talk. We should wrap it up there, gents. I think it matters because too many in the lean community, and I've been guilty of this at points in the past. We forget the fundamental power of focusing on inventory and improving flow, and how that drives your Kaizen and your problem solving, and how really that should be a start point and a focal point along with quality.
I think there's a lot for us to talk about on inventory, and maybe it's something we shall dedicate. We'll make the first word of the next podcast inventory. Good morning, everybody.
I'll make a note of that then.
To stop us from wandering too far.
Maybe, so on that, maybe we should do it. Sorry, Al, one final thing. Maybe we should do it in our upcoming live in a factory podcast.
Oh, inventory in a factory. Can we spot inventory whilst we're in the factory?
That
might be awkward with our friend who owns the factory.
Yes.
But he can take it.
And you know what? Just for our subscribers, so you have heard it first, people, that we are planning on doing a potentially live one at a factory in the UK in a not too distant future. So watch this space. But for now,
we're on the road. Beware, everybody.
But for now, thank you so much for taking part today, John, and for you, Russell, as ever. Would one of you lovely people like to tell our lovely subscribers where they should send their emails too, should they wish to do so.
Dare we ask Russell? He's got history.
Well, do you know what? I thought the moment I opened up to both of you, I'm asking for trouble. But there you go. Go on, Russ.
I'm not. No, 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 no.
No. Oh, here we go. There you
No,
go.
no. I'm not. I'm taking this seriously. I'm not interested. Go on.
Okay.
Go on, Al. John.
Go on, John.
So if you'd like to send us an email, send it to the rest is send it to the rest is lean at gmail.com.
You should have asked me. I'd have made more sense.
Yeah.
Gonna say, so the mic didn't break then, ladies and gentlemen. It was
John
just
did.
John thinking.
I'll never know that because I'll edit it out. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, then thank you and subscribe and drop it in the comments below. And we read every comment, we read every email, we get back to everybody, and some of the bits and pieces get turned into our discussions going forward. So yeah, get involved and make this part of your regular routine.
That's great. And just before we do finish, we've got also, don't forget our spin-offs, which are our leadership interviews, which have been going really well of late. So if you do get 5 minutes and would like to listen to some of our friends and colleagues in our networks who are leaders in their own right, running their own factories, and a lot of the time happy to share their experiences. If you'd like to listen to them, feel free to get on the channel and see what they've got to offer. But for now, that's enough from us. It's been great to spend the time. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you very, very soon. Cheers, guys.
Bye,
Cheers.
everybody. Stay safe. Bye.